friends, and welcome to the show after the 49ers electric Monday Night Football performance versus the Bears. My heart was racing, beating out of my chest, especially that last 2 minutes and 15 seconds once the Bears got the ball back. What a freaking game. 49ers beat the Bears 42-38. They move on to 12-4. Am I right about that? Holy shit. With, by the way, the 1 seed, 1 win away. They're going to face Seattle. ESPN just put it out. Kind of stupid by ESPN. They're screwing the 49ers and the Seahawks over a little bit by giving them a short week. Instead of making it Sunday Night Football, it's going to be Saturday Night Football. But still, they were bumped up to a primetime spot, which makes sense. This was, such a thrilling blow-by-blow offensive shootout. Defense on both sides had a lot of issues, but this was such an exciting game. It was the game of the year, in my opinion. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm over-exaggerating. There's some games earlier this year that if you were to refresh my memory, maybe I would give those some more credit, but with my bias right now, I think that this was the game of the year. NFL, Monday Night Football, 2 young quarterbacks going for it. Obviously, Caleb Williams, first overall pick. Brock Purdy seems to have a very similar skill set to Caleb, by the way, and, better even. He won the game. 2 coaches that are, Kyle Shanahan, who's been coaching for a long time and is called a genius. Ben Johnson, who people have been maybe, I don't know if you want to say premature, but 2 coaches, Ben Johnson and Kyle Shanahan, who are definitely in contention for Coach of the Year and both known for their offensive genius. It was beautiful, especially the end. But it was electric from the first 5 seconds, right? We're 15 seconds into the game and Brock Purdy throws a pick 6 and you're just like, holy shit. And then, by the way, after that, it felt like they scored a touchdown on every single offensive play. I know it wasn't quite every single one, but it was the majority. Unfortunately, the Bears also did that. I was really nervous. The 49ers had the ball right before the end of the end of the game, the last 2 minutes and 15 seconds. The 49ers had the ball. It was 4th and 7. And the 49ers were averaging 7 yards per play, meaning like a lot of times they were getting more than 7 yards per play. And Kyle Shanahan, normally if it's 4th and 7, of course you punt the ball. But this game, the defenses were playing horrible and your offense is electric. And Kyle Shanahan chooses to punt on 4th and 7 and giving the Bears the ball back with 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And I was like really nervous that was the wrong decision. Luckily for the 49ers, somehow at the very end, after, not being able to get any pressure for the majority of the game, the defense actually pressures Caleb Williams a little bit. The Bears, they run like a cute, like, hook and ladder play where Caleb Williams passes the ball and then the other guy passes the ball to Swift behind him. Swift runs. I almost wonder if Swift was like not really aware of the game situation, because it probably would have been smarter for him to run to the sideline, because then the clock would have stopped with 14 seconds left. But instead he gets tackled at like the 2-yard line or something. I don't know if it was quite the 2-yard. It might have been a like 4-yard line or something. But he gets tackled, but then they have to snap the ball. So it goes all the way down to 4 seconds left. So then they have you can run one play. 49ers thank freaking the Lord. They, it's like, okay, one more stop. Like, can you do it? And they do. No Bears player gets open. Caleb Williams gets a little bit of pressure to his side. He like runs out to his left. He's scrambling. And, after watching him all game, I think a lot of 49er fans were like, shit, this is where he, makes a great throw. But he gets a little bit of pressure on him and he throws the ball a little bit short / his wide receiver doesn't get, completely open right away. And what a game. The 49ers defense holds and the 49ers win that game with 42 points. Both quarterbacks played freaking phenomenal, but Brock Purdy has been on a heater for the last 2 games. He's scored 10 touchdowns in the last 2 games. His stats today were incredible, but not just his stats. Like when you were watching him, he can scramble, he can use his legs. He was making big time down the field throws. He had this one touchdown that was like Patrick Mahomes-esque where he's scrambling out to the sideline, runs forward, runs backwards, and you're just like, what the like, is he going to get sacked for a loss here? Nope, throws it into the end zone for a touchdown. I mean, that was such an exciting play. And do you know what's kind of interesting? Brock Purdy's been like he's played that way for a long time now. I think just this is the first time that it was on like a primetime game, or not the first time because I guess he did it last week, but it's only now that it feels like the rest of the NFL is kind of catching up that this is how Brock Purdy plays. Like for the most part, he doesn't like to be a safe dump off pass guy. Like, and sometimes it can screw you over if you turn the ball over, but when it works, it's freaking beautiful. And just him and Kyle Shanahan are really operating on another level right now. I got to say, this is, Kyle was asked, is this the best that Brock Purdy has been playing in his entire career? And he said, he gave Purdy tons of compliments, said he's playing incredible, but, he's not a historian and doesn't want to take away from his 2023 performances. I would say this is the best Purdy's played. I mean, protecting the football, all except for obviously that very first play, but that was also kind of off the hands of Jennings. Not that I'm trying to relieve Purdy of any blame. I don't know exactly if it was on Jennings or Purdy. Purdy got a couple balls batted down. For the most part, the Bears couldn't make their defense was just as bad as the 49ers. They were able to get their hands up and bat some balls down, much like the 49ers. Alfred Collins had a clutch play where he did that in the fourth quarter for the 49ers. But what I was trying to say is Brock Purdy is playing at an incredible high level. I think this might be the best quarterback play that Kyle Shanahan has had in his career. Like, I don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo ever played this well. I don't know. Like, even in 2023, if Purdy was operating at such a high level, obviously Nick Mullins, all those guys, who am I missing? Trey Lance, those guys are kind of more obvious that they were never at that level. But even the other 2 Super Bowl years, 2019 and 2023, I don't think the quarterback play was as good as it's been since the Panthers game, which is really cool for Brock, by the way. Like, sometimes when a quarterback throws 3 interceptions in a game, they spiral for every game after that. Brock Purdy has just been on he's just had the best performances of his life since then. And congruently, it feels like Kyle Shanahan is play calling the best that he's ever played, and maybe not ever, but definitely the best this year. He's just so in his bag. I mean, they put up 42 points. They lost Trent Williams in this game. George Kittle didn't play. They don't have Brandon Ayuk. Ricky Pearsall was finally back and in the game. That was wonderful. I just think there's no way that Kyle doesn't get coach of the year, right? I mean, I guess maybe the Patriots, Mike Vrabel, he definitely just stole it from Ben Johnson. You can't give it to Ben Johnson when Kyle Shanahan just won like that. And both, by the way, I'm not trying to down. When I'm talking about this game, don't think I'm taking shots at Caleb or Ben Johnson, because I thought both of the offenses tonight were electric. But I'm just trying to say, like, this was a game that they make the storylines out of. I feel like, all the NFL Network and ESPN and all that, they really care about these primetime games. And the 49ers have showed up in the last couple primetime games to play. Let me go over some of the stuff I wrote down, and then I'm going to check the chat. and I have a lot more to talk about too, but I'm kind of such a fan that I'm so excited that my brain is being like, ah. So I want to go over my notes. I put, is this Kyle Shanahan / the 49ers year? It feels like they could win the Super Bowl this year. That seems crazy. You know, they could also lose the first round in the playoffs because their defense has been horrible. That's the parody of the NFL this year, and that's the parody of the 49ers this year, where they feel so confusing because almost as good as Kyle and the 49ers were this game was almost how bad their defense was. Last week, Robert Saleh talked to some reporters and said, hey, the Colts, their game plan with the first week that Phillip Rivers played, he had a lot of short passes. They were running Jonathan Taylor. So that's what we prepared for. We made adjustments at halftime, and we did better post halftime. And Robert Saleh kind of had that excuse as to why his defense played poorly. And that's not why his defense played poorly. They were plenty prepared for what the Bears were going to do in this game, and they could not get a stop because they don't have a lot of talent on defense right now. And I'm not blaming, I don't think that's necessarily Robert Saleh's fault. And in the clutch, gotta have it. If we can just get one freaking stop, they did it. So they deserve congratulations. The defense deserves congratulations for stopping, the final drive. Like I said, also a little of that was on the Bears, though, because they didn't have anyone open. But part of that is the 49ers actually covering well. Robert Saleh, I think there was 2 blitzes in the last couple minutes of the fourth quarter where Robert Saleh actually got some freaking pressure on Caleb Williams and got him off his spot. And that was great. Lots of props for Robert Saleh on that one. It's hard. He doesn't have a ton of talent. His safeties suck. No offense, Jason Pinnock should not be on the field. Malik Mustafa, who was really good prior to his re-injury of his ACL, he had to have surgery again. And since he's been back, he has not been good. I went to the 49ers game against the Panthers, and Jair Brown actually had a good game, but he's been dog poop since then. And he was dog poop before then. So I think that was just a fluke game. Lenore had a really ugly first half, but then maybe made the tackle of the game by stopping Swift. Like I said, I think Ben Johnson, when they dialed up that hook and ladder play, they wanted to get in the end zone right there. There would have been 14 seconds left, so the 49ers wouldn't have been able to do anything. I think that it was dialed up to go. I don't think they were supposed to go down. And Lenore comes running in and slams his shoulder into him. The rest of the 49ers also swarmed, and they ended up getting him. But Lenore was the first to kind of hit him down. And so I feel bad. I earlier in the game, about around halftime, I said, Lenore is quietly having a really bad year. And I think Lenore's smart, and he's gotten he's very nice to a lot of the 49ers beat reporters and stuff. So a lot of them like him. Nice is not the right word, but he's cool and he'll chat it up with them. And so I think a lot of them have been maybe more resistant to shitting on him than they would a different player who doesn't try to cozy up to them. So I was like, hey, he's kind of been getting away with this. He gave up, I think, 2 big plays back-to-back games in the last 2 games on defense. I think one of those might have been Jair Brown, and Lenore just ran after, and so it kind of looked at him. But like I said, so struggled the first half. Obviously, the defense didn't do good. They gave up 38 points, but they made the stops at the end, and that's kind of. That's why I'm like, maybe they could win the Super Bowl. Does it feel realistic to think that the strategy for the 49ers to win a Super Bowl is to score 35 plus a game? Because I don't know if their defense is going to stop another team from scoring 30 points. It seems insane that the 49ers offense would be able to continue that production. That's why people say defense wins championships. Eventually your defense has to make a stop, because if you have one punt Like in this game, it was like after the first, interception pick six thing, each team was scoring touchdowns, scoring. Like they were just trading off. So it was like the first team that just misses a touchdown is going to lose. 49ers miss a touchdown. Bears go back. They, once again, at the very end, they, instead of getting a touchdown, they get a field goal. And I was like, damn, the 49ers, they're going to win. Do you guys think this defense is going to lead to a 49ers first round exit, or do you think they're going to win the Super Bowl? Also, when you look around, like if the 49ers play Philly just beat Josh Allen and the Bills. I think if the 49ers are the 6th seed, they end up going to Philadelphia in the playoffs for week 1. And if not, if they beat the Seahawks next week, which they beat the Seahawks week 1, but obviously the Seahawks team is a lot better than they were week 1. But if they do win, then they're going to get a bye week, and they're going to be at home. So it's it's a lot of pressure, but it's kind of cool that like their destiny is really in their hands, and they can save themselves. They can, rest longer with the if they get the number 1 seed, which they're going to need because Trent Williams left with a hamstring, which is terrifying. And luckily it didn't hurt them in this game. Pleasanton, is that what his name was? I'm blanking. Who filled in for him? George Kittle, will he be able to play next week? I wonder if the thinking for Kittle and for Trent is like at least the 49ers are in the playoffs now. Maybe they don't want to risk like push them to play until the playoffs. But then the other part is like, hey, if we can push you to play and we can beat the Seahawks, then you get a whole extra week to rest. I don't know. Would you guys play Trent Williams? Would you play Kittle? Kyle talked after the game, and he said Trent Williams pulled his hamstring. The issue is that Trent Williams, I guess, has never had a hamstring injury before. We know he's had a million broken ankles and high ankles, but he's apparently never struggled with the hamstring before. They're going to do imaging on it tonight, and they'll have a call tomorrow where they'll say, is it grade 1, grade 2, grade 3? But Kyle didn't want to give a timeline because he didn't, like, Trent's never had this before, so they can't predict, like, okay, in the past, he's taken 3 weeks to cover, or like in the past, these hit him really bad. And obviously it also depends on the severity of the injury. I tore my hamstring like off the bone when I was running track, and it literally took me like a year to recover, but also I'm not a professional athlete. And then I've also just like tweaked my hamstring and had to like rest for a week and then been fine. So there's large variability here, but we know that it's bad enough that Trent didn't even, attempt to go back into the game after that first, one drive of the game. Not even one full drive, one pass to interception, and Trent was immediately out. That was such bad vibe. It was such an intense way to start the game. It was like, But then after that, they were lights out, which they get credit for. The update on Kittle was that he'll be day-to-day next week. He wasn't able to participate in practice the last couple of days, but they didn't even rule him out of the Bears game until today, which means he had an opportunity to play. Like if he was severely, there was no way he was going to hurt, they would have ruled him out on like Wednesday or Thursday. But he went through the warm-up drills and everything, but then didn't want to push it. Which, thank God, Jake Tonjes, who, by the way, was undrafted but picked up by the Bears, like the Bears are the first team that he was on. Jake is incredible. And I've been saying this for so long. I don't know why they haven't done 2 tight end sets when George Kittle was healthy and had both Jake Tonjes and George Kittle on the field at the same time. Kyle Posey of Niner Nation had some stats about Tonjes. Let me see. Maybe Kyle Shanahan is sandbagging for the playoffs, or there's some kind of rule that doesn't allow the 49ers. This is obviously a joke because there's not a rule. That doesn't allow the 49ers to use Tonjes on the field with Kittle. Tonight, Tonjes had 7 catches for 60 yards. 5 of those were first downs. Another one was a touchdown, and 3 of them were third down receptions that went for first downs. I mean, that's a hell of a fucking back. Like, that's not even a backup. That's a guy that you need to have starting all the time. But congratulations to Tonjes, because that must feel good. And good for him. Like, some players, we see how disgruntled some of these wide receivers get. Some players might have, gotten out of shape or started complaining or whatever. Like, Jake balled out when Kittle was injured earlier this year, and then literally was put on ice, like sat and not brought up at all. He might have had like a couple catches throughout the last multiple games. He was almost never, ever, ever in the game, never a starter. And he really earned himself a position on the field. And I think it says a lot to his mindset that he never became a malcontent and he stayed ready. So then, today he went off. The 49ers don't win this game without his incredible performance, especially in the first half. Let me go over some of the stats. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey, he ended up doing the 1,000, so has another season of 1,000 yards receiving, 1,000 yards rushing, which is historic and very, very cool. Did I already talk about Brock Purdy's stats? I feel like I talked about how good he was, but I don't know if I said these stats. He was 24 of 33 for 303 yards. He had 5 touchdowns, 3 passing, 2 rushing, and then obviously the 1 interception. His rating was 106 or 118.6. Wow. Eric Gomez has 2K all-purpose yards for CMC. Yeah, incredible. They used Bijan Robinson a little bit when this was kind of scary. Christian McCaffrey's back started tightening up on the field, and they were like showing guys working on him. Kyle Shanahan said that there was no update on that when he was asked about it in the post-game presser, which is not lovely. If you remember last week, towards the end of the week, Christian McCaffrey left practice on, I think it was a Thursday, maybe it was a Wednesday, because then he sat out 2 practices. One was a walkthrough and one was a normal practice, so it must have been a Wednesday, with back tightness and soreness. So it looked like maybe that was flaring up a little bit. It didn't look like that at all by his play on the field. Like, he was an Iron Man on the field, but when they showed him when he'd be on the sidelines, trainers were like digging their elbow and their hands into his back. And so I'm praying that he wakes up not feeling horrible tomorrow. Robinson was such a success. I mean, this Bears defense sucked. Christian McCaffrey had 23 carries and averaged 6.1 yards for a long of 41, 1 touchdown. Then, like I said, they gave Brian Robinson the ball a little bit in the second half when Christian's back started flaring up. And Christian has to be healthy for the playoffs. So it's just like, it's scary. Robinson only had 4 carries, but for 22 yards, 5.5 yards a carry, 15-yard long. Sky Moore, they utilized him a little bit, which was, I feel like there's been people calling for Sky Moore to get some usage outside of just the return game, because he's very speedy, very fast, very physical. He's kind of earned it. He had 1 carry for 10 yards, so good for him. Ricky Pearsall finally got back, and he had a hell of a day. His long was for 30 yards. He averaged 17 yards per carry. He had 5 receptions. Like I said, Jake Tonjes had the most targets out of anyone in the game, which is just incredible that he was just on the ice. But 7 targets for 60 yards, averaged 9 yards a carry, 1 touchdown. Jennings also had a touchdown, a long of 21. Is that true? Hold on. Oh, okay. So Jennings literally only got the ball twice, but both of them were for 21 yards. Damn. And then what's kind of interesting, an adjustment that the 49ers have made since Carolina, is Christian McCaffrey has been getting the ball a lot less as a receiver, but he's been going off as a rusher, which when in the beginning of the year, he was getting a ton of touches, but his average on, running the ball was like 2.7, 2.6 or something. And I was kind of like, ooh, maybe he's slowing down as a runner, but he's great as like a dump off pass man and a decoy. Like they should give him way more receptions, but slow down and give Robinson more touches as a runner. But they actually made the opposite of adjustment. And it's been really freaking successful for them. You had D. Robinson too, who was really good. Kendrick Bourne had one catch for 25 yards and then made a funny comment about his wife. So, I mean, just all Kyle Juszczyk had a touchdown. God, I mean, they really, another thing that they've been doing this year that I'm like so thankful for is they're spreading the ball around to all of their weapons. Where in 2023, they were winning and they were scoring like 30 points a game whenever they were winning, but it was run CMC, pass CMC, run CMC, pass CMC, run CMC. And I'm not saying like, obviously 23 carries is a lot. They're still very reliant on him and he's extremely important and we don't want him to be injured. But the fact that they can spread the ball around and they are choosing to do that a little bit more is really making it so defenses don't know what to cue in on. And the offenses just looked electric in that way. So I love that. Can we imagine if we had Trent, Kittle, Bosa, and Fred on the field, we would have won by a lot more? Yeah. It's like, that's why I said I do think, maybe there's some magic to this season. Maybe Kyle Shanahan does win Coach of the Year because to be this dominant without your Hall of Fame players is very, very incredible and exciting. I think I went over the injuries. I said Trent has a hamstring. They're going to do imaging and have a better timeline tomorrow. Kittle has that ankle and will be day-to-day next week. Upton Stout, who is maybe the best defensive player in the back seven for the 49ers, even though he's tiny and small, shows how bad their defense is. But he left the game with a concussion, so my prayers go up to him. And then Keon White also did not return. So hopefully those guys will be okay. I would say Upton's probably not going to be back then since it's already Monday. And am I stupid? No. Wait, is it it's Monday right now, right? I just lost my mind. Hold on. It's Sunday. Did you guys know that I titled this Monday Night Football? I'm losing my mind. Sorry. I went up to Sonoma County and hung out with my my dad and my family. It's the time in between. I'm gonna change this title really quick. Don't worry. Sunday Night Football. This is really good podcasting. If you guys don't know what I'm doing behind the scenes right now is actively changing the title. If it'll even let me, since I'm already streaming. Will it let me change this since it's literally not Monday Night Football and I lost my mind? Nope. It's not going to let me because I'm streaming. This stream must be scheduled in the future. Okay, I'll change it after. Whatever. How do I exit out of this now? Save changes. Okay, disregard changes. Never mind. Hold on. This is happening actively, and I don't know how to get out of it. What if I go like this? StreamYard. Hi, guys. Hold on. So the thing is that there was Christmas this week, and the New Year's happening, and no one knows what time it is anymore. I'm not allowed. Oh. What's up? Remove. Is this 15ish? I don't think so. Oh, it will be. That's not good. Hold on. Can I? Mic settings. Mic volume. I'm trying to figure something out actively. The thing is that I tried to edit I tried to edit the name of this. I don't want to say it later. And now let me click Adams. What if I just go back to what it was? Hi guys. Sorry, crisis averted. I tried to remove the Monday Night Football and change it to Sunday Night Football, but because I'm already streaming, they were like, you can't do that. But then on my end, there was a giant black box over and I couldn't see. Okay. This is what happens when it's the holidays and everyone jumbles all the days. I'll change the title later. Just if you're newly clicking on this, and I like this Monday Night Football here in New Zealand. Thanks for joining me. Okay, let's get on to some of the other stuff. Bears, that Luther Burton guy looked like Antonio Brown. He was incredible. I wrote down Brock playing like the best quarterback Kyle Shanahan's ever had. He's also like 20 yards behind tying Colin Kaepernick's rushing touchdowns, which were rushing yards, which is kind of crazy if you think about the fact that Colin Kaepernick is known as like a rushing quarterback and Brock Purdy is not. But he plays really similar to, and I'm not trying to say he's on this level, but to like a Patrick Mahomes or to a Caleb Williams. Watching them play tonight, they had really similar styles where if the pocket is breaking down or if your weapons aren't getting open, he will hold on to the ball. Like that play where he scrambled out to the left and then ran forward and then ran back and then ran away from pressure and then ended up throwing into the end zone. He held on the ball for 8.6 seconds in that play, but he will try his best, he being Brock Purdy, try his best to give his weapons a chance to get open and like not let the play die. Now, sometimes that bites you in the ass and you get a sack for negative yards or you end up throwing an interception and it's like, oh, you can throw the ball away, like just live to the next down. But in a game like this where the offense was so dominant and the defense on both sides was really struggling, I thought it was very cool to see him kind of taking so many chances and being aggressive. And for the most part, Kyle being aggressive. 49ers Poker says that Purdy style brings back Steve Young memories. I believe it. I didn't watch Steve Young, but my dad talked about how this is kind of how he played. He wasn't necessarily like a Lamar Jackson style runner. Like he still wanted to pass the ball, but he would scramble and would give his weapons a chance. I happily lost my fantasy title because I played Purdy. Why did you lose? Purdy, I feel like would have given you a ton of points. He scored 10 touchdowns in the last 2 games. I don't understand. I don't really understand fantasy football. But I know that if a player does well, they give you lots of points, especially if they score touchdowns, rushing and throwing the ball. Oh, I played against Purdy. Got it. Well, that's a little like win-win, right? Like if Purdy does poorly, you win your fantasy, but if Purdy does badly, your team that you like gets to win. So I like that. I want to scroll up because there were some questions towards the beginning that I didn't get to because I was trying to get to my notes. Oh, and I just scrolled back to the very beginning. 6 seed, maybe in Philly or to Chicago. Yeah, I'm hoping that they're the number 1 seed. It'd be interesting if there was a rematch in Chicago. Philly's interesting because their offense doesn't put up a ton of points. I think they had 17 yards in the second half of this game against the Bills today. So you imagine that the 49ers offense could definitely outscore them, but at the same time, their defense is very dominant. So sadly, yes. So I mean, the defense is just bad, right? Like they don't get any pressure. They don't get any sacks. Their defense back 7 can't cover. Their safeties are constantly getting beat. Like their safeties are slow and kind of not good at reading and understanding their assignments. And then also they don't turn the ball over. Like the Bears defense also sucks at stopping the run or creating pressure on the pass. But if the ball is thrown to them, they have good hands, so they can at least turn the ball over. So yeah, I'm very worried about this defense when it comes to playoff games. Defense doesn't win. I think we're talking about championships. The last 10 years. NFL refs are all towards offense. That's true. All the rules. The NFL wants offense, high scoring, because it gets not only me excited, but like a casual fan excited. This Niners team has the best chance to win it all with Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, it'd be funny if like the team that finally wins, his team that finally wins, when it felt like they actually had the best team in 2019, maybe aside from the Chiefs. Definitely in 2023, I thought they had the better team even than the Chiefs. And it'd be funny, like, this is not their best team. They would tell you that. But the stars are kind of aligning, and the rest of the NFL is also struggling and doesn't have a dominant number one favorite. Like I said, the 49ers, like their good is so good and their bad is so bad that I could see them winning any game, and I can also see them losing any game. What's nice is their special teams is good. So that's helping, like, in the small margins. Obviously, the defense and offense is, like, going to make the biggest impact. But when it comes to very tight games like this, like field position, making your field goals if you need it, making your extra points if you need it, that stuff is really important. And thank God we've done, really well. This was their first game in 2 games that our punter has needed to punt, and he's gotten the ball all the way to the other side of the field. And special teams has just been a huge plus for the 49ers, where I think the Bears had a couple of penalties on their special teams, which obviously didn't end up being, costing them the game. It was definitely an offensive shootout, but it's nice that we have like one additional asterisk on the like pros, okay, this goes for them winning. Because I mean, the 49ers, you could say that they lost the Super Bowl. I've said this before, people disagree, but you could say that they lost in 2023 because of their special teams. I mean, they missed an extra point in regulation, and then they tied the game, and then they lost in regulation. So obviously it wasn't all on special teams, but they could have won it and not even ever gotten to the overtime rules if Jake Moody just makes his kicks. And I, knock on wood, feel like Eddie Pinheiro would do that. Okay. Bears put all their cards on the table with that lateral, and it didn't work. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say it didn't work. I was so impressed by Ben Johnson and by Kyle. Like, it was very clear. It was like, these are the two best offensive coordinators of their time, and they are just dueling each other. Yeah, I would put it more on Swift. I mean, or good, finally good defense by Robert Saleh, like being able to, or not even Robert Saleh, but Lenore being able to suss out, okay, what's happening? I'm going to make that stop right away. But yeah, I think like Swift not running out of bounds or pressing a little harder, it just felt like he didn't realize the game situation right there, which is kind of, I mean, that goes on your head coach, though. Like, right? If it was the 49ers and there was a player that didn't understand the game, the situation, we'd be like, hey, why didn't Kyle Shanahan make sure all of his players knew exactly, hey, if this play starts to stall, run out of bounds immediately. Hey, push into the freaking end zone because we don't have time. Immediately go down if you're feeling any pressure. You know what I mean? Like, I know I would be upset at Kyle Shanahan for not properly preparing his players. So it's fair to ask, why Swift was not prepared for that. But I thought both offensive coordinators were kind of cooking. I will find out what hotel the Seahawks are staying, and I will pull the fire alarms all night. I know what hotel they're staying at because the 49ers, you don't want to do this because the 49ers stay at the same hotel. I don't know if you know this. This is maybe some inside info from some of the media and stuff, but the 49ers players don't stay at home the night before the game. They stay in a hotel, and the opposing team stays at the same hotel in Santa Clara. And I think they do that so that, like, if you have a baby or a wife or whatever, you don't have any drama. They have a curfew. You can't have people over. You can't, even if you're married, you can't have your wife in the hotel past, I think it's 8 or 9 the night before a game. So I see the allure in doing something like that, but for the 49ers, I don't think all stadiums are like this. When I went to Pittsburgh was that in 2023 for week 1, and there were rumors that happened to the 49ers, that they were pulling alarms in their hotel. So I think in Pittsburgh, the Steelers and whatever opposing team stay at separate hotels, but in Santa Clara, they stay at the same hotel. I only know this because I was there. I stayed in Santa Clara for some of the, I'm blanking, the off-season, not preseason games. What was it when they had, joint practices. I was like, I'm trying to hand signal you. They had joint practices with the Chargers, and then the Broncos came as well, I think. And the 49ers had to stay in the team hotel, and the other team also stayed in the team hotel. And it's kind of funny because these are like grown men making, hundreds of millions of dollars. Some of them, others are making like $1 million or whatever, but they have like agents and stuff that like sit in the lobby right by the door. And at like 9 p.m., all these players start rolling in because they have a curfew and everything. And you get like fined if you don't show up. It's crazy. Conversation topic. Is there any unit, defense, offense, or special teams that is better than the 49ers offense? I mean, I would say that the Bears offense is equally as good as the 49ers offense. So the Bills really struggled against Philadelphia today, but they have a good defense. I think their offense, if they were going against the 49ers, would be able to score. Like, I think it would be similar, like touchdown, 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 touchdown. So the Bills, Jaguars have been playing really well. Let me see. Jaguars played phenomenal today, right? Now, I think the 49ers would beat the Jags if they played them. Obviously, that would be the Super Bowl, and I don't think the Jags are going to the Super Bowl. The Texans defense is better than the 49ers offense. Texans are scary because the Texans like don't have a dominant. They're the opposite of the 49ers, right? Like their offense, I'm not trying to shit on them. CJ Stroud is pretty good, but their offense is not like something that you would write home about, but their defense is so good that they're beating teams like crazy. Like the Texans could win the Super Bowl because of their defense. I would be scared for the 49ers to face the Texans. They've already lost to the Texans because their defense was so dominant. And I think yeah. So Houston's, I think for as high-powered as the 49ers offense has been, I think Houston's defense is equally as high-powered. Tampa is crazy because they've fallen off a cliff. Remember when like Baker was going to be the MVP? People were like chanting for him to be the MVP, and they've just totally sucked. I'm just looking at the games that have already been played. Who's in? Let's look at the playoff matchup. Let's look. I don't think the Seahawks defense is as good as the 49ers offense, so I'm going to pick the 49ers to beat the Seahawks for that very reason. Okay, NFC playoff picture. Division leaders, Seahawks. I think the 49ers are going to beat the Seahawks because I think their offense is better than the Seahawks defense. Bears, 49ers beat the Bears, but obviously they could go toe-to-toe. Philly has a good defense. I don't know. Philly's offense is like not good. Is it blasphemous? Like, I don't want to jinx them, but I kind of think I would pick the 49ers over the Eagles right now. I know the Eagles have a good defense, but their offense has been horrendous. They've also had some games where their defense hasn't been that good. Like, I think it's been good for the last couple of weeks. And same thing with the Panthers. Like, I'm not scared of the Panthers. I don't even know why they're up there. Green Bay you're not scared of. Now maybe LA has a really high powered, they have a great quarterback similar to the 49ers. They have probably better receiving weapons than the 49ers if everyone's healthy. I don't know if Adams is playing yet, but Puka Nacua is incredible. I'd be more scared of the Rams than I am the Seahawks. Knock on wood. Hopefully I'm not like jinxing them right now. But yeah, if I look at the Bears, Eagles, Carolina, Seahawks, LA, and Green Bay, which is it's the division leaders plus the wild card contenders. The only two that I'm not like outright picking the 49ers to win is probably the Eagles and the Rams. And that doesn't even mean I'm not actually picking them to win. I'm just more hesitant. And then when you look at the AFC, like I said, I think the Texans defense is really good. The Ravens still scare me, even though maybe they shouldn't because Lamar's been shit and it seems like their organization is turning in on itself. The Bills would scare me because I know the Bills lost today, but I don't think the 49ers defense would be able to slow down Josh Allen. And I think when Josh Allen is comfortable, he's the best quarterback in the NFL. But maybe Purdy in this offense would go blow for blow with him. So maybe be a shootout in the end. Like, I don't think any team, knock on wood, would like blow the 49ers out or be like I think most games going forward, once again, knock on wood, that the 49ers win or play in are going to be like tonight. They're going to be high scoring and it's going to be like come down to the wire. And it's going to be like, can the 49ers outscore this opponent? Their defense can't stop them, but can they make one stop? Can the 49ers score every single time they have the chance to? That unfortunately has to be their strategy unless Fred Warner and that hyperbaric chamber really come back to life and he comes back early. I know that's a whole topic. A lot of people have been talking about, Fred Warner, is he going to come back? I don't know. Maybe I'm just a negative Nancy. The 49ers have, in previous years, gotten so much shit for rushing players back ahead of time before they're ready. And for some reason, all fans are like, we must have Fred Warner back. Like John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, anyone who has talked about this has said that the doctors have said that it is not on the tape. Like, it is way above the timeline. I know Fred Warner himself and even John Lynch was like, well, you never want to, like, the doctors say that he won't be cleared now, but you can't put anything past Fred. He's giving it his all. And maybe he defies all odds and he does come back early. And I don't think the 49ers doctors, knock on wood, I hope the 49ers doctors would not clear him if he had the opportunity to re-injure himself and like make it worse. But I would be really hesitant. Fred Warner's a hell of a freaking player. We know he has so much heart. We know he wants to be, back playing. He's gone to every single game. Every night, it feels like his wife is posting him, on Instagram in that hyperbaric chamber, doing some sort of rehab, like really taking his recovery seriously. But if every doctor and trainer has came out and said, that's absolutely not in the timeline, and then you ask Fred Warner and he goes, I'm still going to try for it. It's like, okay, like from an athlete perspective, maybe that gives you like a goal and something to look forward to, like instead of just admitting defeat. Like, I like that he's approaching the rehab so aggressively because I'm sure that feels better for him. But if there's any chance of re-injury, I would not put Fred Warner back on the field because he has a very serious injury. But if he can go and it's safe and he's like cleared, like it's a pain management thing, but there's no risk of re-injury, I would love that. And I think maybe the reason the 49ers have kind of been pushing that so hard is I'm sure even their own players are aware, like, is this strategy of scoring 50 points a game really going to hold up in the playoffs? And maybe the idea that like, well, if we just get one more win, like Fred Warner's going to come back. Maybe that helps like with team morale. And team morale's been up. So that's great. And I'm not trying to poo-poo on it. I'm just saying like fan to fan. If you've looked at my channel and been like, why hasn't she kind of been championing that? I feel like you should always be conservative with injuries. And I've seen the 49ers push players too soon and it lead to like their career being over or them sitting out an entire year and the timeline being much extended. So I just want them to be careful is all. I just really like Fred Warner. I do want him to come back. And if he can, I want him to come back. But I don't want it to fuck up next year. But maybe the idea is like, it's risky, but it's the NFC Championship. And if they win this game, they can win the Super Bowl. Like, would you risk re-injury for 2 games if it meant you got a ring? Like, I'm sure Fred would. And I'm not someone to, I'm not going to tell another adult what they can or cannot do with their own body, especially an athlete who's been, I'm sure Fred Warner wants a ring. So we'll see what happens with Fred Warner. His timeline is still up in the air right now. And if he is going to return early, it seems like the earliest he would return is the NFC Championship game. So they still have some more wins, they being the 49ers, to go. Ashley, question for Ashley. That's me. You know the media better. Back-to-back weeks, Purdy has been asked about play calling. Is this normal, or is there potential backstory the media is trying to build? I know last week Purdy was asked about changing the play call, I think, or if Kyle, if he ever reads a play call that he doesn't like. I think part of that was a callback to Joe Montana has like a story time where his headset wasn't working. And so they ended up having to call a timeout, and he got the play call from Bill Walsh. And then he walked back to the huddle and he was like, you guys aren't going to believe this, because he thought the play call sucked. And he ended up changing the play call and called a different play, and it went for a touchdown. So I think that's what that question was for. But why Purdy was asked about it, and I don't exactly know, but what I would hypothesize is today, and then last week, maybe that's why I thought it was Monday Night Football. Last week was Monday Night Football? I don't know. But both weeks, the 49ers have had to use a timeout because at one point Brock Purdy couldn't hear the play call. And so they've been trying to run a play, and instead of getting a penalty because they don't snap the ball in time, Purdy's yelled, I can't hear. And Kyle has had to waste a timeout in order to give him the play. And I think sometimes other quarterbacks like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or whatever, or Aaron Rodgers might have the capability if they're in a situation where they can't waste a timeout. Today, it wasn't a big deal because I think it was like right before halftime and they had 2 more timeouts. But last week, it was in a critical situation. It was like in the fourth quarter when they needed all their timeouts, and they wasted a timeout because Brock Purdy couldn't hear it. Wasted is a hard term. Like, getting the correct play call helps them complete the play and get the first down, obviously. But sometimes those timeouts are really important, like if it comes down to like today when you need every last second. So I think the media might just be asking like, hey, if you're, in a playoff situation and you're trying to save those timeouts because maybe you're going to need to score in the last 2 minutes, like, do you have the capability if you, for some reason, on a one-off chance, can't hear Kyle? Like, do you know enough plays, or are you allowed to just call a play on your own to get the first down and then reconvene in the next drive and be like, hey, I can't hear you. That way you're not wasting a timeout. That's my hypothesis, but I don't actually know. It could also be because Kyle Shanahan is in the running for Coach of the Year that maybe the media is like, because I think Eric Branch asked a little bit about the play calling today. And I think Eric Branch has written a couple articles about the fact that Kyle Shanahan should have already won Coach of the Year and should, like, in previous years, and should definitely win it this year. And he might just be prompting players to like say good things about the play caller because he's trying to get the narrative, when you talk about like media narrative, outside of like the 49ers sphere. When it comes to national media, there's a lot of talk about Mike Vrabel and the Patriots and Mike Vrabel winning Coach of the Year. There was a lot of talk about Ben Johnson winning Coach of the Year, and there's less so about Kyle Shanahan. So I think maybe just like encouraging the starting quarterback or Christian McCaffrey or George Kittle or whoever to like praise the play call and the coaching is just kind of getting that like, oh yeah, Kyle's doing a good job, and like, look at what all these players are saying about him and his ability to like scheme around all these injury issues. That's just my hypothesis. I don't actually know. Adding to my question, seems like Christian McCaffrey asked also when it seems obvious players will complement play calling back-to-back high-scoring wins. I think this supports the latter part of my point is that if it was Eric Branch, I think some media, some of the 49ers beat reporters are probably trying to get the conversation of Coach of the Year going for Kyle Shanahan. This season is a perfect example of why Kyle Shanahan is a top 3 coach in the NFL. I agree. I think he should be Coach of the Year. Maybe Mike Vrabel has he's also contending for it. Although I think I saw the Patriots, I know coming into the year, the 49ers were said to have the easiest schedule in the year, but it turns out, like, now that we've actually seen the games play and which teams have gone and played other playoff contenders and stuff, the Patriots have had the easiest schedule. I don't know. Obviously, what he's doing, turning around that organization after it was really in the dumps with Belichick and Brady and everyone leaving, is very important and very impactful. But I think what Kyle is doing is also good. I hope Trent is healthier than concerned based on how long he was in the tent. If it was serious, I think they'd rule him out quicker. Well, he was in the tent for 11 minutes, and he immediately took his wrist tape off. I don't know why they didn't rule him out. I texted my dad the second he took his wrist tape off and said he was out. I know that they listed him as questionable for a little while. He was definitely out of the game. He literally took his, not just like his helmet, but the tape that he has. It takes a long time to do all that because they're doing a lot of hand fighting. I don't think he would have taken that off if he felt like he was going to go back in the game. Maybe they didn't want to rule him out in case like his backup Pleasance, I don't know if I'm saying that right, was doing like horrible. Maybe he would have pushed himself more. But I think that he did, fine enough without him. Obviously, they scored 42 points, so did fine enough without him. And they were also able to run the ball well. So the offensive line held up really well. I think there was one penalty on Pleasance. I'm not saying his name right. And then one on Pooney. But for the most part, the line has been, we talk a lot about like the disappointments with this defense and stuff. I really thought the offensive line was going to be a bigger detriment to the team coming into this year, where they've actually played pretty freaking well, especially since the Carolina game. Brock has entered the elite conversation. Okay. I don't disagree, by the way. I only said okay because I don't know if he's like, do you mean elite for his career? I think he's having a great season. And I think he's had great seasons before. Like, when I hear elite, I think of like Hall of Fame player. I just don't think he's played enough seasons to be like a Hall of Fame player. But do I think he's like a really good quarterback and earning his contract right now? Yes. Do I think he's making it pretty clear that he's better than Mac Jones, who a lot of people, maybe even me at one point, I don't know. I don't actually think so. But I know a lot of people have said that they were, on similar playing levels. Brock Purdy has played the best football of his career in the last couple games, I think. And I wasn't sure if he'd be able to do it against an actual playoff contender and an actual good team. Now, the Bears defense wasn't great, but their Bears team in general is a playoff contender and is great. I wouldn't call Purdy elite. Like, I want to see, like, can he continue this in the playoffs and stuff like that? Like, I just don't think we should. I think like George Kittle is a Hall of Fame player. I think Trent Williams is a Hall of Fame player. I think even Nick Bosa is like still in the running to be in the Hall of Fame. He's not like a guaranteed lock for me. So maybe my criteria is just a little bit higher, but I definitely think Brock Purdy is playing incredible and like one of the best quarterbacks in football this season for sure. So I'm not trying to down him at all. Good day. Says Vrabel, Coach of the Year case is a bit overrated. He had Drake May playing like an MVP and an easy schedule. To me, it's Cohen. Oh, yeah, Jags, Cohen or Kyle. I agree. I just think that people are so down on the Patriots and that like helps. Because it's not actually about like who's the best coach. It's like what team had the lowest expectations and then overperform them. But I think being that the 49ers had 6 wins last year and have now doubled their wins since last year, and they've lost so many players, I would say expectations were probably pretty low, and that they are shocking a lot of people by the fact that they're so dominant. And so I think 49ers. This guy came into my chat late. Bruce, Monday Night Football. I thought it was Sunday night. I tried to, if you weren't here earlier, I tried to fix it. I got locked out of my whole thing. I was echoing. I'm going to fix it after. I'm just making a joke. But thank you for letting me know. I did figure that out. I just can't fix it until the stream's over. Hi, Julie. 49er fans are delusional. Cool. Okay, let's see who this is. Rams fan or Bears? Let's see. 49er fans are delusional. Bears are. I like that you don't even write out R. You just put R. Bears are banged up on defense. You guys I can't read. You guys will be punting 20 times a game soon. This was not critical. I don't mind people who disagree with me, but that was not coherent. You can't say, your point is that the 49ers offense isn't going to play well. If you want to come in and say we're delusional because the defense is not going to hold up against playoff teams, like maybe you can make a case for that. Their offense is damn good. And the Bears defense sucked. And I don't care if they were banged up. Have you seen the 49ers team? They were banged up. Sorry. I'm always like, you're always, if you're, a fan of a different team, you're allowed to come in. And I think it's fun sometimes to like have actual conversations, but that just like was not a good argument. Warner amping up for the NFC Championship game, according to the broadcast, talking to him. Yeah, that's what these games in January are going to be intense like they were in 2023. It's going to be scary. If it was anything like tonight, my heart was racing. I feel like I'm tired, but also like on a high. I was like, my heart was beating on my chest. Definitely rooting for the Steelers, as don't want to play Lamar. I'm predicting NFC wins Super Bowl against any team besides the Bills/Ravens. Yeah. I think a little bit just based on history, I'm still hesitant about the Bills and the Ravens. Like, even if they played poorly, I've seen them be dominant for so long. And I think their quarterbacks are so good, even if they're having down years, that I'm like, I know they could. I've seen their potential. And so I don't want to go against them. I would add the Texans in there, but I understand if you don't want to, because their offense doesn't score me, but their defense does. D'Amica. I was watching it at work and my heart was beating like crazy. I know. I held my breath at the end there. I couldn't tell what I thought was going to happen, but I'm really glad it ended up how it did. And good for Alfred Collins too. I hope I shouted him out earlier. He was one of the players that actually made a stop in that fourth quarter against the Bears. And he was actually, it was like a very heady, like smart play too, because he was actually getting beat. Like he was not getting to the quarterback, he was getting pushed back. But then he saw Caleb play and he just threw up his hand and batted it down. And that happened to Brock Purdy a couple times, but our 49er players don't do that much. And I was like, I loved that he had the wherewithal to do that, because he could have just been like, oh, I'm just getting pushed back and like falling over or something. Or not even falling over, but just like, he's throwing it. I'm not going to get to him. So I'm just going to not like quit on the play, but I can't hit the quarterback after he's thrown the ball. So there's nothing left for me to do. And instead he was like, actually, I can just hit the ball down. And you could say that saved the 49ers ass. It really came out with both teams scoring on every single drive. Like every point counted. Coach Kyle wins his first Super Bowl versus... Oh, I forgot about the Broncos. Damn, I'm an asshole. Everyone is asking me which team says I'm scared of. The thing is, and I think the Broncos might have the most wins in the NFL. Every time I've seen them on TV, they don't look like a crazy good team. Now, obviously, they're winning. I literally think they have don't they have the most wins out of any team in the NFL right now? Anytime they're on the TV and I watch them for like a quarter, I'm like, they're not very good. And I don't understand why they're winning. Hold on. Broncos. Yeah, they have 13 wins, 3 losses, leading their AFC West, leading their division. I don't know. I would rather face the Broncos than the Bills. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Broncos are better than I think that they are. I have a lot of respect. Respect is a bad word because he did the whole trying to bounty gate thing. But I have respect for Sean Payton because he's been dominant and such a good coach in the NFL for so long. So he does like bring fear in that way. And they're doing good. And Bo Nix has been playing well, I would say. I guess. I mean, if they're winning. But when I watch him, he's not very good. And I watch like the rest of the NFL, and every time I see the Broncos playing, I'm like, why are they? I don't like they win at the very end, but good for them. They've won high scoring games, they've won low scoring games, so they have a lot of practice, and a win is a win. So I don't know. I have a hard time feeling as like scared about them, but maybe I would change my tune. Like if the 49ers are actually going to play them, which they're not going to play them unless they go to like the Super Bowl. But if they were, I would obviously like watch more of their stuff, and maybe I would change my tune and think that they were more dominant. But just at this very moment, I'm less scared about them. Dom says, great show, Ashley. Thank you so much. This is a great time for me to remind you guys to like and subscribe. That really helps my channel out, and I appreciate it a lot. I will be going live tomorrow after Kyle Shanahan's 3:30 Pacific phone call. That way I can give you guys the actual updates once I get imaging on Trent, on, any updates on Kittle, although I bet that they'll continue just to say it's day to day. On Upton with the concussion, maybe we can ask what they're going to do with Upton out. Chase Lucas went in with him out today. He made 2 horrible plays where he gave up easy first downs to Caleb Williams, and just fell on his back and was not in the right position. And I was like, oh, this is why they don't play you, because he balled out in preseason, and then every once in a while he's played like other times, and I thought he's done well, and I've been like, why don't they play him more? And then today I was like, this is why they don't play him. Holy shit. But then he actually did really good at the very end. Once again, the entire defense sucked the entire game, and then there was like 3 plays at the end, and they did well. This is what I was saying. Who is back up to Lucas if Stout is out? Well, Chase Lucas is Upton Stout's backup. So he would be in for Stout. Who's now, if Chase Lucas goes out, who's the backup for him? Darnell Luter, maybe? I don't know. That's the question that I want to ask. Because knock on wood, like I hope he just miraculously heals well. But I do think on a short week, Upton probably won't be back by the time the Seahawks play. And so I'm going to ask Robert Saleh who he's planning to play in that situation. I just said that. Lucas is the backup. I said that. Broncos have DJ Jones, Dre. Yeah. That game was a banger. I agree. I'm exhausted after it. I felt like I was... Darnell Luter is starting outside, so he can't be the backup. I'm guessing Lenore goes inside, and Apple plays outside. Who's Apple? I think I know who you're talking about. I don't know if he's even on the team anymore, though. The guy that I know I like can see his face, and I remember when the 49ers signed him to their practice squad. Is he currently still on the team? I guess I could try to Google this, but once again, gonna go live tomorrow. We'll have better answers. Let me see. 49ers. What would I say? Secondary. Darnell Luter, Deommodore Lenoir as their starting corners, Jair Brown, Malik Mustafa as their safeties. Renardo Green currently out. I wonder what Renardo Green's timeline would be. He had the neck injury, right? So maybe, I don't know if Renardo Green might have a chance. Well, I'll definitely ask. I'm glad that I Googled this because no one asked about it tonight. I'll definitely ask Kyle what the update on Renardo Green is. Eli Apple, that's who you're talking about, right? I don't know if he's still there. Someone said we also have Hufunga. I offended the Broncos fans, and somehow they found my stream and they're in the chat. Hi, Broncos fans. Sorry for talking bad about you. I hope I didn't jinx the 49ers. Bernardo Green coming back soon. Yeah, it was a neck injury, right? I didn't think he was. I was surprised he was out even today. Christian McCaffrey had back problems. You think he will play against the Seahawks? I did talk about this. I do think he'll play against the Seahawks because it's Christian, but I'm nervous about it. And I kind of didn't understand why they kept him in the game after that, to be honest. But I err on the side of caution, and the way that Kyle saw it is every single offensive possession mattered and they needed to score. It's going to be a movie. I agree. I'm very excited. I wish it was Sunday night instead of Monday or instead of Saturday night. I'm taking Monday out of my vocabulary. We also have to beat the Seahawks. We need Fred back. We need time to heal. Also, the chaos of these playoffs will be serious. The bye week is extremely valuable to us, and Super Bowl is a home game. I agree. I agree that we need time off. I agree that the Seahawks game is important. If the 49ers win every single game, so like if they just keep winning, they never have to go on the road and they'll have more time to rest. So that's a nice thing to have up their sleeve. Did I break out the Yeti mic? Yeah, I did. Not break it out. Did I break it in general? Keep up the great work. Thank you guys so much. Thoughts on Tig this game? I didn't think he had a great game. I said that earlier. I've been pretty disappointed with him since Carolina, to be honest. Although he did get like flagged for like a punch out last week, and I saw the replay, like one of the like NFL Albert Breer type guys tweeted out a video of the play and announced how much he got fined. But I also remember that they got a penalty and got yards taken away from them because of it. And it looked like he was like, they flagged him for like punching the other player when he was very clearly like the ball was here and he punched right here, like trying to punch the ball out, which is what they're taught to do. So I don't know. It's hard to be a defensive player with all the rules nowadays. I'm going to Bears fan here. Great game. Caleb Williams really impressed me. I didn't like how Chris Collinsworth was talking about him. He was like bawling out, and Chris Collinsworth was talking about how he was not good. And I was like, are you watching the game right now? Maybe stop talking. We're missing Nick Bosa too. I agree. I'm going to shut it off here because I've been chatting for a long time and I'm getting sleepy and it's getting late. But I'll go live tomorrow after Kyle Shannon's call with the media to give you guys the rest of the injury updates and maybe any, after night thoughts once the game has settled. And then I'll go live with Tom Jensen from Sports Illustrated on Tuesday. And I think I have a special joint live coming later on Friday as well. So lots to look forward to this week. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you're not already. And I hope you guys had an excellent Christmas. I got to see my sister and her boyfriend and my mom, and I got to go to dinner with my grandma and dad. We went to like a really nice, I guess I could shout it out, La Coco's in Santa Rosa, very authentic Italian place. And it was so fun to see my dad. If you guys are new here, he's the reason I'm a 49ers fan. I got him a good sweater for Christmas. So yeah, he got me a sweater on his birthday. We went to 49ers game. I got him a jacket. But he got me a sweater. So I was trying to get him something in return. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great time with your family. If you ate a lot of sweets, that's okay. It's the holidays. Drink a little water. Make sure to try to get some sleep. That's what I'm going to do. Love you guys so much. Plans for New Year's. I'm going to get my hair done. If you guys, I'm naturally blonde, but I'm like a dirty blonde. I like used to have, when I was a baby, I had like this hair naturally. But I'm like the worst girl ever. Like I don't like getting my nails done or getting my hair done or so, because I hate sitting. I have like a lot of energy and I hate just like sitting. Also, these things are expensive. But I haven't got my hair done in like months and months. And my birthday is on the 8th of January. And so I want to have my hair done for that. Because even though I don't love just sitting in a chair for 3 hours, I love once it's done. And I feel like it helps my confidence a lot. And in the winter, sometimes it can be hard. Like you can get down on yourself. It gets dark earlier. And I feel like, you just don't get as dressed up and as sexy and stuff like that. And sometimes you can get a little insecure or whatever. Like I've heard people call it like the winter uglies or whatever. So I always try to get outside as much as possible, take walks while it's still daylight. Maybe if I can, wake up a little bit earlier during the winter time. That way I can try to have a little bit more sun time if the sun is out, which it was out today in the Bay Area, which is wonderful. I think it's supposed to be out tomorrow. Oh, I didn't even talk about this. A bad thing is about playing on Saturdays. It's supposed to rain in Santa Clara. So that's going to be a whole other, I don't want to make a whole topic about it, but we know Brock Purdy has struggled in the rain before. Kyle Shanahan refuses to play with wet balls. Then you think about Kyle Shanahan, or not Kyle, but the Seahawks who play in Seattle. So they're used to playing in the rain. So that kind of scares me. The whole playing on Saturday night is so annoying because I don't even think it's supposed to rain on Sunday. Hold on. Sorry, I know I dropped into something else. The whole question, while I'm figuring this out, New Year's Eve, so not actually New Year's, but New Year's Eve, I'm going to get my hair done and then probably go to dinner with my partner. And then I like to work out, and I've taken a lot of days off because I've done a lot of like traveling and stuff. 11/11 Make-A-Wish really quick. Okay, sorry. Okay, let me see. Santa Clara. ESPN is, oh, this is so annoying. I don't know if it's ESPN. I think 49ers Poker earlier said that it's not them who decides. That's so frustrating. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's supposed to rain on Saturday, and it's not going to rain on Sunday. Now, let me look at the time really quick. I think it's going to be a night game, right? Okay, so it's supposed to rain in the morning on Saturday, but by nighttime, 4, 5, 6, it's supposed to not be raining by the time the game is actually, because it's a night game on Saturday. Hopefully the field isn't slippery. I don't want guys to get injured. But yeah, hopefully it's not actually raining because we know Brock Purdy struggles. That's so annoying because Sunday it's not supposed to rain at all. Anyways, sorry, I totally got distracted there, but yeah. On actual New Year's, I'll probably work out because New Year, new me, but I work out all the time. So that's not a New Year, new me, but it's just something I enjoy. Try to get outside, just rest a little bit, stuff like that, have a good, happy day. Call my dad, call my best friend, Lacey, stuff like that. Someone said, what are you talking about? Someone asked me what I'm doing on New Year's. And then I was also talking about the fact that the 49ers are playing on Saturday and Brock Purdy struggles to play in the rain. And it's supposed to rain on Saturday. And I'm annoyed that they're not playing on Sunday Night Football. That's all. Anyways, love you guys. I'm going to end it. I know, Ravens Steelers Sunday night. I know. We will handle the Rams. We will handle the Rams. Rams hate to travel to Philly. I don't know what you're talking about now because 49ers aren't playing the Rams unless it's the playoffs. Love you guys so much. Give me a like. Give me a subscribe. And I'll go live tomorrow. Bye.